You also known as Duck Corella?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent to criminate.
You got any business?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of intent to criminate.
You have any profession?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent
You have
to
any
criminate.
occupation?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent
Are
to
you a
criminate.
known racketeer?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of main intent to criminate.
Her name Winkleman of the Elizabeth
You ever
Police.
get any money from Costello?
No.
And did you ever get any money from Meyer Lansky?
I never got money from any of those fellas.
None of those
None
fellas?
of those fellas. None of
except
these that
for
I've been
the-
reading about, or none that I knew. They never gave me anything.
None of the Fichettes?
No.
You
I
think-
don't even speak to the... I mean, I met that Charlie once or twice. I don't even talk to him.
You don't like him?
No.
Evening, folks. Welcome to the Smoke Show, our Sunday night special. We go over cooking tips, so to speak, but typically we smoke something or do something on the grill. In this case, we're actually going to do something on the grill, I think 2 times. I think I did my teriyaki grilled chicken, and I think Vet did some grilled jalapeno poppers. Am I right about that, Vet?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jalapeno and poblano pepper poppers, baby. Say that 3 times fast.
I'll try that later. I need to do some exercises first. That's a lot going on. But with us tonight, we've got Bruce Wayne. He's co-host on our Night Court show. I believe he smoked some eggs, folks. We've got Vet LT3 with the jalapeno poppers. We've got James, another co-host for our Night Court show. And we've got Jason with us, our friend out of Minnesota, who actually did smoked Texas chili, which I think is the first thing that we want to go to tonight, is talking about the smoked Texas chili. But let's go around the room. Bruce Wayne, you did eggs. I've seen some pictures. I hadn't had a chance to pull all that in honestly, my apologies. Put together a good presentation video, but we'll pull them up and look at them. But what's your first impression about smoked eggs?
Well, and that's all right. I think I got those pictures to you late. So they turned out pretty good. They tasted good. I didn't really like the texture. I think I need to adjust my technique somewhat. But it was good first attempt.
Well, the person that dropped that tip in here on us is Jason, so maybe he can go over how you did it and give you some pointers on to bring that home to where it's something you enjoy doing. Vet, tell us a little bit about these jalapeno poppers.
Oh, they were fantastic. They were so good. My wife took my share. We divvied them up, and I came back inside from making a little fire pit, and I come in. I'm like, "Where's the other pepper at?" She's like, "I ate it." I was like, "That was mine." So had to be good. She ate my portion. So, but it was really tasty.
Okay, we'll get into some more detail on that because I've got some questions for you on how you did it. I've seen the pictures, but I'd like to see what you're coming up with there. But Jason, you did Texas smoked chili, and I was a little apprehensive about that. First off, you're in Minnesota doing Texas chili. I don't know how I feel about that, but I will say I'm kind of impressed with your technique in what you did there. How long have you been making this dish?
Truth be told, I was not a chili fan up until I came across this recipe. I hated chili. And when I found that you don't have to put beans in it, and the actual end result, it's one of my staples now. I probably do that recipe maybe once every 6 weeks or so. And it's a big enough plate that it feeds my family for probably the next 4 or 5 days. And it's almost better out of the fridge, to be honest with you. I think when those flavors get, and they just sit in there, and it becomes better tasting the longer it sits. But so I would say never liked chili. Absolute huge fan of this style of chili. And if you're like me and hated chili before, take the damn beans out and do it the right way.
Absolutely. I'm impressed with the smoking aspect of it and how you achieved it. Let's watch the video, and I may pause it a couple times and ask some questions. let's talk about the ingredients. So you got 12 ounces of sirloin steak. I'm gonna pause that. 12 ounces of sirloin steak, and I saw that you got the kebab style, so it's already cubed, right? So cubed sirloin steak.
Yeah, it's just easier because I actually take those cubes and I slice them into bite sizes after they're smoked to make them smaller, but it's just easier.
Okay, and 2 pounds of 90-10 ground beef. Good choice, and a pound of mild breakfast sausage. So just a pound of mild pork sausage, right? Ground.
Yeah, the first time I did it, I used hot, and it was actually too hot. So I'm not a big spice guy most of the time. So this recipe is kind of my twist on my taste buds. You can use hot if you want.
So of your preference, but you could go from mild to medium to hot, extra hot if you wanted to, right? Up to
Yeah,
you.
yeah, your choice.
Okay. 2 red onions. I see those. They're in the plastic sack there. So probably about apple size onions that we're talking about.
Yeah, the first time I did it, I did three, and again, I'm not a heat guy that much, and the three was a little combined with the hot sausage was a little over the top for me, so I reduced it down to two.
Okay, but I mean, really, these are some pretty basic ingredients. Maybe adding the steak in there on top of the ground beef. Beef is, some premium chili, but it's pretty basic ingredients for chili. Two 30-ounce cans of crushed tomatoes, two 16-ounce cans of Italian diced tomatoes. Tell me why you have the two difference. Why do you do diced and crushed tomatoes? What are you looking for in
Consistency
that?
to have the crushed is a more more of a liquid, kind of grainy, and then the diced one it's more of a actual see the pieces of tomatoes. So
Okay.
it's personal preference.
No, I like it. Just wanted to ask there. And then 5 tablespoons of Meat Church chili powder. Now, this is Meat Church. That's the website, right?
Yeah. Um, I went with 5 tablespoons. The first time I did it, I followed his directions, and good Lord, my eyes were watering. Um, so I dropped it down. Again, this is 4 pounds of meat. This is a big meal, but it 5 tablespoons gave me just enough to let me know it was there and not make my eyes water.
So that's another thing as you make this, you could adjust that to taste as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you got shredded sharp cheddar cheese and sour cream. That's for a topping afterwards, right? That's to put it on it for service.
Yep. Yep. And I would shred your own cheese. There is a taste difference in that.
I agree with you on that. Okay. Let's see how this is put together. So you prep your smoker at 225, deep smoke, hickory wood or mesquite. So you want some smoking time in there, right?
Yeah. The better, the more. I wouldn't do an apple or a cherry on this. I wanted that really thick smoke taste.
Okay. Let's go back to this. While the steak is smoking, we're going to dice the onions and put the garlic in it to taste, and you're gonna cook that down. I see that. Let's go back to the smoking of the sirloin. You put it in there for about 2 hours. What are you looking for before you pull that out? How do you know it's done?
I don't care if it's done. I want the smoke taste to absorb into the meat because we're going to smoke this for a long time. At the end, that steak will be cooked. So I'm just looking for getting that smoke in those steak pieces.
Okay, so just a little extra punch on the smoke for the steak pieces that you're going to dice later and put in, or cut smaller and then put into the chili mix, right?
100%. Yep.
Okay. So step three, while the steak is smoking, so you got about 2 hours. Dice the onions, and looks like we're going to put all that into a mix. And when you say cook it down, you cooking that down in a skillet? You cook it down in what are you
Yeah, you're
cooking it?
basically no butter, just sauteing it. You're just you're cooking it down.
Okay, just like that right there. See, I simulated it.
Yep.
Uh,
That's cute.
brown the ground beef and sausage mix. So you mix that together, ground beef and sausage, and now you're going to brown that like you would. You're going to make a spaghetti or something, right?
Yeah, you don't have to go. You don't have to go to a certain temperature on the ground beef because again, it's going to smoke for 8 hours at the end of it. So you just kind of brown the outsides and get it going.
Okay, so all that comes together. You combine your ground beef. It looks like you've combined your ground beef and your sirloin here into a mixing bowl. I said mixture bowl, but maybe a mixing bowl after the browning.
Yep, and you just throw all the meat together, the vegetables, put it in a container. You're gonna need a big one, and then go on from there. Just add the rest of it, and
Okay. So step 6 is we're mixing the meat and vegetables, everything that we got cooked so far. We're putting into a large Dutch oven or broil pan. We're going to add the tomatoes out of the cans, and we're going to add the meat church chili powder in there. See how this works out here. So there we have the Dutch oven. Make no mistake. Got our cans open, ready to go in. Got coconut water over there on the side. You tried to hide, but I caught you. So right now, everything's in there except the chili powder. You've got everything that we've cooked. All the ingredients are in this pot right now.
yep, and throw that in, and then just give it a good mix.
Now you're under the smoker at 225 for 8 hours, stirring every couple hours. So 8 hours to smoke this.
And the reason for the stirring, to be honest with you, is to create that new surface to absorb the smoke. So every 2 hours, that top layer is absorbing all that smoke, and then you want to mix it up to get another layer on top to absorb that smoke. So you do end up with a very smoky meat-based chili. It's phenomenal. I highly try it.
Okay, and that's a good tip. If you're going to do like macaroni or anything that's got a that's liquid or mushy type of thing that you're going to smoke, it's an absolute good idea to turn that. Jason's right. You want to get that you're exposing new surface area to the smoke, so it gets your smoke taste in there deeper. So yes, I'm impressed with this recipe. And you said that it was a big hit. You said nobody was turning it down and licking bowls.
In fact, I told my family, because it's so much. I mean, it'll feed us for 4 or 5 days. But I said, made the comment, save me some today, and I got yelled at. But other than it's I'm not a chili guy, but this changed my mind.
Good deal. What do we think about that, Bruce Wayne?
I mean, that looks delicious. I would eat that all week. Yeah, I need to make that myself, actually. But I do want to say, Jason, man, onions are not hot. You guys crank that to spice up. I'd have to go for hot. And honestly, does the recipe, I don't know how hot that meat church chili is, but I wouldn't be down. I wouldn't be against adding some peppers to that too.
The original recipe has it. I took them out. I'm not a heat guy by any means. So I can't remember the name of the peppers that were recommended, but add whatever you want to it. I mean, this is what my taste buds like.
I think that looks amazing. Honestly, the only thing I'd change, like the prep and everything, looks perfect. The only thing I'd add is maybe some habaneros, but not even too much. Like,
And all that's to taste. I mean, chili's kind of like a stew. You salt it to taste, however your family likes it. But I think the heat level is the same way. Now, Jason, if you were going to add peppers to that, would you dice them and put them in with the garlic and the onion to saute down?
Actually, I'd garnish it with it. I'd slice up a jalapeno and put it on top of the cream cheese or the sour cream and the cheese. To be honest with you, I'd use it as a topping.
well, and Jason's absolutely right about chili and salsa and stuff like that getting better as it goes on, because it does take a couple days for the heat and all those flavors to mix together, and it just gets better like the further it sits.
Well, so does lasagna, folks. Lasagna is also better the next day, and I think it's for the same reasons. But I'm actually a full believer in that. But back to what we're talking about. If you wanted to, what you brought up, Bruce, if you wanted to spice this up, you could garnish it with it. You could cook it down. But if you wanted to maintain the real heat, then you would dice your pepper up and put them into the chili raw and let them cook over the next 8 hours. And I think that would give you a stronger punch as far as a bite. I think if you saute them down, you could lose some of that, but you still get the pepper flavor. So yeah, I'm impressed with your recipe, Jason. Uh, I think it's a win. Vet, give me your impression of it.
Oh, it looks fantastic. It looks delicious. I can just imagine the taste too, that smoke flavor in every bite. Yeah, it looks fantastic, Jason. I am with Bruce. I do like a little heat, so yeah, I would probably smoke me some peppers, cut them up, and probably garnish it at the end. But you, like everybody's saying, it's whatever your family prefers. You know, my family does do a little bit more heat, but it's up to your taste. But that looks fantastic, Jason. Looks great. I wish we can just send food through the screen, brother, because I would love to have a bowl of that.
Amen to that. I would take a bite right now.
Yeah, I keep imagining in this the deep levels of smoke flavor that you're going to have in that. I'm really cool with the idea of smoking the sirloin ahead of time. It's kind of like when you make the cream cheese or the cheesecake. I think it's brilliant that if you would just smoke the ingredients and then add them in there, you're bringing the smoke and the flavor into it without having to put the whole thing in. But I think it's a great idea
Well, and
on that.
just a real quick thought popped in my head. You ever think of adding some smoked brisket to that?
Yeah. I'm more of a steak guy. Joe's not going to like this. I like brisket, but if I had my choice between a ribeye or a brisket, I'm going steak. So that's, you could change, you could flip flop whatever steak you want in there, but brisket would be just as good in that.
Yeah, I've had Texas brisket chili before. It's not bad at all. But let's don't get crazy here. I'm not going to turn down a ribeye. Ribeye, I think, is the finest cut of meat known to the human species. But I do like brisket too. But I think just getting the smoke flavor in there, yeah, I'm impressed with it. Big Ron, what do you think?
I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. I need to get that recipe from you, so I can play around with it a little bit. I'm going to completely go against what Bruce and Vet said. I can't stand jalapenos in anything, so I think it's spot on there, Jason. I'm gonna have to make that and see how it comes out. I don't know if you covered this before. I was finishing up dinner when the show started. What kind of wood did you use to smoke this? Did you go with a heavy wood or a light wood?
Heavy. I went with this one was mesquite.
Was mesquite? Okay.
Yep. I really want. So the smoke part of it to me is actually part of the heat. So I love a smoky taste. And again, the reason you're stirring it and you're smoking the meat beforehand is to get all those ingredients to absorb that smoke. And if you just put it in there as is and don't stir it, you're going to have different levels of smokiness throughout the dish. So I would consistently so 4 times, I would completely mix it up to get that new layer of smoke on the top.
No, I completely agree with you. We've discussed this before on the show. When we've discussed flavors of woods, and I consider mesquite to be a more spicier wood. You could kind of taste the spice in it, and hickory a more milder wood. So yeah, I can see how mesquite worked real well on that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get that recipe from you, Jason. I'm gonna make that. I got to see how it comes out.
James, what do you think?
Well, I have to agree with both Vet and Jason. I'm not exactly a heat guy. So I've also never been a chili guy. Every time anyone's had chili anywhere near me, I've been like, nah, that smells horrible. Get that away from me. But just hearing about what this looks like and seeing the ingredients and how it's put together, I really want to try this. And to counterpoint to all of y'all, sirloin or brisket, whatever, bull. Tri-tip is the best. Granted, I'm from California, so take that with a grain of salt.
Okay. I mean,
Tri-tip's a spendy cut of meat to put in this thing. That's why I went with sirloin.
It's not that spendy out here. Tri-tip is cheap.
Well, brother, you go do you on that. That's good. I think tri-tip wouldn't be horrible in there. I do think if it was expensive, I don't know how interested in that I would be. But you know what? Let's talk about some smoked eggs. Bruce, kind of run us through what was your process for smoking these, and I'm gonna put some pictures up. You with us, Bruce? Okay, Vet. Let's go to your jalapeno peppers. Talk to me about how you walk those in while I try to find some pictures on those.
Yeah, no problem. So I did. Not only did I do jalapenos, I did poblano peppers as well. I do like how those taste. So not a spicy pepper at all. So for people who, don't want spice, do a poblano pepper. So I did two of each. Cut off the ends, the part that hangs from the branch. Cut it off. Gutted it out. Make sure I get all the seeds out, all the internals out. Then I took some cream cheese, seasoned with all-purpose seasoning, Kinder's, if anybody cares about the brand. And then I started stuffing them full. Once they got stuffed all the way to the brim, I took some uncooked bacon, wrapped around every single one of those poppers, all the way from bottom to top, and then put all-purpose again on the exterior of all the poppers. All right. I used the apple wood. I didn't want to go with a hardwood with what we were doing with the jalapeno peppers. I want to go a little light. So I did apple. I got the temperature up to about 175, 180, and put them on the smoker. Checked on them, maybe once in between. Let them sit there for about 30 to 45 minutes, and then once it sat there for that long, I cranked up that heat to about 300 or so, 350, so that bacon can cook on the outside and get nice and crispy, because the wife does not like non-crispy bacon. So we made sure all the bacon was nice and crispy when it was all said and done. And yeah, pulled it off the grill, or the smoker, I should say. Brought it inside the house, and it was gone. It was like a little after-dinner snack. And it was gone instantly. Like I said, my wife deboed me for my jalapeno. I got a bite. I did get one bite, a small sliver that she left me. But the poblano one was a good pepper to cook, to smoke with it, I think, because it's not spicy. For the people that don't like spice, it has a good flavor to it. But the jalapenos are perfect. Very, very good. And all grown from my garden, too. None of the ingredients, besides, of course, the cream cheese, was bought from the store.
You killed your own pig?
What? Yeah. Did you slaughter your own pig?
Actually, I got it from a farm that does slaughter their own pigs. I get all my meat from
Fair
farms.
enough.
I don't get it from the main store. So my beef, pork. I haven't found a poultry place yet. I'm working on that. But yeah, most of my meat, minus chicken, comes from a farm. Support your local farmers.
Yeah, I know. Without that, I got some questions on this. Did you smoke the peppers ahead of time, or were they raw peppers?
No, they were raw peppers. I did not smoke them ahead of time. But I understand that. So like, if you want to get the smoke more into the peppers, but I'll tell you this. I think especially that last few minutes or so when I had the heat cranked up to 350, I had so much apple on there that it you could taste the smoke, the apple smoke in the peppers themselves, as well as the bacon, by the way. And the cream cheese, the very end of the cream cheese had a nice little crust on it at the top. Oh, so good, so good.
Okay, let's go over those temperatures again. You put it on for about 45 minutes at would you say about 180 degrees?
Yeah,
So
between
low
about
for the smoke.
175, 180. Yeah, low and slow, low and slow.
And after about 45 minutes, you were getting some cook on it, but you're not crisping up the bacon, so you kicked it up to 300 for how long?
I did it for about 15 minutes or so, and that's all it really needed. That the bacon was sizzling, and it was crispy, and as you can see in the photos, that bacon was perfect, perfect.
Yeah, give me a second. I'm trying to get to the photos, and I'll try to bring them up.
You're good, buddy. And just to say, it's my first time smoking those. I've never done it before. And like I said, my wife and I were really the only ones that partook in those. So she loved it. And like I said, she took my portion, which tells me a lot because she's the main cooker in the family. So if she's stealing my portion of what I cooked, I take that as a gold star right there. There we go.
All right, so there's your finished product there. Bacon does look crispy. The peppers do look like they've got a little smoke on them. So yeah, I'm kind of impressed.
Yep, first time I can't complain. I think I will add shredded cheese to the inside next time. Add a little shredded cheese to that, and I will give credit where credit is due. The gentleman that helped me, or not helped me, but gave me a recipe on this is our man Jason that's in the live show right now. So I'd like to thank him for sending that over to me. And yeah, it was a hit. So definitely be adding these to the next barbecue party or family get together.
Jason, you want to throw some critique his way?
They look awesome. I'd do the shredded cheese in there, but this is one of my favorite things to make. They're so easy to do, and they don't take too long. And the only time I've smoked vegetables before cooking was for salsa, because vegetables they absorb the smoke so easily that I don't think you need to smoke them beforehand. But I would love to grab one of those and devour it. Those look awesome. Nice job, Bet.
They do look good. I'll give you that for jalapeno poppers. I think you're well on your way to getting that mastered. Bruce, you got an opinion on this one? Are you with us?
Yeah, I think I like the looks of that. So you just cut the bottom out and stuffed them, or
The top.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's all I did.
Yeah, no, that looks fantastic. I wonder though if you cut it off on top, then you got like that smaller diameter, and then the bacon would wrap all the way around, and then it wouldn't come off while it was shrinking. But yeah, no, I wouldn't change anything. That looks perfect.
The other way that I've done them is I cut them in half and bowed them out. So you would have actually had 8 poppers there. So take the top off, the bottom off, cut it in half, and then you make this little boat cavity with your peppers, and then put your cream cheese and your seasoning, and then wrap the half of it. I've done it that way before too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it both ways actually, and also just slit them down the side and open them up like a hot dog bun. I've seen them done that way too. I guess it's personal preference. I don't think one way is necessarily better than the other. But I do want to tell our guests listening, the chats are open both on YouTube and X. If you want to throw in a comment and get involved in the conversation, we're watching live for that. We'll put your comments and your questions up on the screen for us to discuss. But where are we at? Jason's critiqued it. Bruce Wayne's given his opinion. Big Ron.
I think they look good, Vet. Again, like Jason was saying, I've done them both ways. The only difference is we'll take the cream cheese and let it get the room temperature. Makes it a little bit easier to work with. In some cases, you can actually put it in a Ziploc bag, cut the tip off, and pipe it inside the jalapeno there if you need to. Also, if you use a toothpick, you can pop a toothpick through the popper and it will keep the bacon from unraveling, like Bruce is saying. So either way, it looks really, really good. I've done them both ways. You got good colors on the peppers and on the bacon. So great job, buddy.
Well,
James?
No, sorry, James. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bruce. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, since I'm on that brisket tear, I saw this recipe where you cut them in half, like Jason was saying, and Ron, and you put that cream cheese in there, then you put a little slice of brisket on top, and then wrap it in bacon. And I think I need to try that.
One of the most difficult things about this is that you've got all these different things that cook at different temperatures and different times. Bacon, some people like it crispy, some people don't like it crispy. And it's really difficult to get an even cook on that bacon. You've got to turn it a lot. You got to watch it a lot and maneuver it on the grill to catch it right. But I think you can add anything to this that you want. I think it goes back to another personal preference. I think if you like caviar, you could mix caviar in there, and nobody's going to complain. It's still going to be pretty delicious. It's goodness wrapped up in jalapeno pepper.
Hey, Joe, I've actually gone through that battle before, and the last time I did it, I tried pre-cooked bacon, and that seemed to work a little bit better. Or the thinnest cut of bacon you can find, because smoking bacon takes a while. But that was one thing that I found made it easier to cook that way. Was the pre-cooked bacon. I don't think it tastes as good as a really thin slice, but I have tried it that way too.
And Jason, actually, that's a very good point. When I make them, I use the thin cut bacon. I kind of stretch it across here like a bed sheet. It's kind of as tight as I can get it, as thin and wide as I can get it in the wraps. And it does seem to cook a bit more evenly. I don't, yeah, the pre cooked. It seems like I'm missing my smoke. I'm missing my grill on that. I don't know that pre cooked bacon's going to absorb any flavors on the grill, but it makes sense. But
That's the fun part about cooking, is you just trying different shit and finding out what works and what doesn't.
yeah, I enjoy that as well, solving the problem. James, you going to throw these off your plate?
Well, I'm a bit of a neophyte when it comes to smoked foods because I don't do that much myself yet. These, and I'm like I said, I'm not much for heat, as I said earlier. No, I would not throw these off my plate. I would definitely eat the hell out of those.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. If somebody doesn't want, like, I like the pepper taste, but I don't want my taste buds burn off my tongue. I'm kind of that way too. Uh, so, Jason, how do you prep your pepper so it's not too hot? I mean, we're talking jalapeno. It's not extremely hot, but it is hot for some people.
I've learned that I do more of the canoe technique, and I just get rid of all the seeds. I think if the seeds are gone, your heat level is going to go down drastically. And I also think if you throw some cheese in there with the cream cheese, it's going to bring the heat down as well. But that's how I tackle that.
Well, if I may, 90-ish% of the capsaicin, which is the heat-inducing molecule, is contained in the seeds of pretty much every pepper. So yeah, you take the seeds out, most of the heat's going to go away.
And also, that's why I use the poblano pepper too. You don't just have to use jalapenos. Poblano pepper is a good pepper. It's got good flavor to it as well. And you don't have to worry. I mean, you gut it out and make sure the seeds are out, but it's a non-spicy pepper, so you can always go with that too. But both of them had its own variety of flavor because of their type of peppers, but they were all just so good, both of them.
Well, if you want to take the heat out, you do need to remove the seeds. You also need to remove the veins. If you'll look in there, like kind of like in a bell pepper, you'll have these little veiny things that you want to scrape out. Potato peelers are good. Just with a knife, you can scrape those out, and you'll get a pretty inert pepper at that point by taking all that out. So those that don't want a hot mouth burn, but you still want to try these, it's something you absolutely can do. You just got to prep your pepper to the heat level that you want. If you leave it seeds and veins in, it's going to be as hot as that pepper is. You take out 50%. Technically, it'd be 50% of the heat. You can take it all out though if you like, leaving it pretty much an inert, just the shell, but still good taste. So looks like we got a win on the jalapeno peppers. You'll have to write this up in a recipe vet. I hadn't had a chance to get everything you guys sent to me today. I haven't had a chance to get to do any editing on, but I'll put together a recipe clip on that as well. If you'll send me the steps to do that and ingredients. But Bruce, let's talk about your eggs.
Yeah, let's do that. I could use some help on those.
Well, give me a second here to pull that up. Let me share this photo. So what are we looking at here?
Okay, so the two on the bottom right, I did in the shell. Massive failure on those. The ones on the back are the ones that I hard boiled for about 10 minutes beforehand. Then I shelled them and put them on the grill. I cooked them at about 225 degrees for about 2 hours. And the flavor was great. They were real good. But I noticed I kind of got a rubbery outer layer. Like they were basically impossible to cut without mushing the whole thing. I got my sharpest knife and kind of got through them, but I did still end up with a bit of a mush. The flavor was great. I'd just like to get rid of that rubberiness. Those the ones I did in the shell. One of them actually it burst. I don't know what I did wrong there. I scrubbed the shell and everything to get that protective layer off, but it still burst in the shell, and obviously just drained out all over the grill, which was fun. And yeah, so there you
Okay,
look.
we're talking about two different. So you hard boiled some and smoked those without the shell, and then you cleaned some and you put on there that these are raw eggs that you put on the grill to cook them out and smoke them.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So you said that was a fail. So tell us
Well,
what failed about that. What was going on there?
I'm not sure why the ones in the shells burst. One of them burst. The other one, it did not. But like Jason said, it just didn't absorb any smoke flavor. So and it didn't absorb any color. So I left it out of the picture because you
Okay, well,
couldn't
but
see
was it hard
on it.
boiled? Was it cooked at all, or was it just a raw egg on the grill?
The ones in the shell, sorry, yeah. The ones that I dropped right on the grill, they were hard boiled, and then I took the shell off, put them on the grill. The ones in the shell were both just raw eggs straight out of the fridge that I scrubbed real well. And they were store bought, so I don't know that they had much of a protective coating on them anyways, but yeah, I just put them right on the grill. So it might have been a defective egg that burst, but the other one, I don't know. It basically just tasted like a hard boiled egg that you'd get from water. So the ones that I did shell first after hard boiling, those did have good flavor. But yeah, the texture wasn't right. I think I can work with it. I don't know if I need lower heat, but or even less time. But
Okay, you know what? We're going to get to that in a minute. We'll let Jason kind of troubleshoot that. First, I want to talk about this. Does anybody else see anything wrong with this picture?
there's some good eggs right there. That's actually I added that because that was my achievement. The eggs
Y-
were kind of disappointing, so
What
I
I'm
did.
looking at are ears of corn. You
Yeah,
not seeing that?
Yeah, where's the husks?
they're good eggs. Yeah, so
Do you think these are eggs that on the screen right now? There's three things
yeah, they're
that
good.
looks a lot like corn. Those are eggs.
Yeah, they're good eggs. But no, so I did to smoke some corn, and so I was looking up different ways of doing it, and I kind of decided to do a hybrid way of doing that, and these actually turned out amazing. Because some people they'd like husk it halfway and pour melted butter on it, and then smoke it. Other people they like soaked it in water to get that water down in between the kernels, and then they would smoke it so it kind of steams as it's going. And I decided to kind of do a hybrid. So I fully shucked them and soaked them for about 5 minutes to get that water down there. And then I put them on the grill or on the smoker, and I smoked them. And every 10 minutes or so, I'd paint them with melted butter and flip them. And after about 35, 40 minutes, man, they were perfect. And because I kept it cool by painting it with the butter, you don't get that burned uh, burned grilled corn effect. And it was amazing, actually.
Hey Bruce,
Yeah,
when you did your eggs, did you happen to poke a hole in the bottom of them?
a hole in the ones that were not shelled.
The ones that were in the shells.
No, I did not do that.
So there, you can actually buy a special tool. My grandma used to use them, where you can pop a very small hole in the tip of the egg. The ones that explode are the one that exploded. It could be due to excessive steam buildup inside the shell.
Gotcha. Okay, see that's good to know. So then I'd have to kind of prop it up at an angle or get it to stand upright,
No,
or
not
or,
at all.
or just drill the hole on the side that's up,
They
right?
actually make a special little thing. You used to be able to buy them back in the 70s and 80s, where you'd put the egg in it, and it was just basically a thumbtack at the end. It would just pop a super small hole in the bottom of the egg, and it would allow the steam to vent. And that's also how a lot of people get those perfectly boiled eggs. If you're smoking them due to the temperature, if you don't pop a hole in them, there's nowhere for that steam to go on the inside. since there is a small air pocket in there. It's not very big, but there is a small air pocket, and that could cause that egg to burst. So that may have been what happened.
I will bet you 10 will get you 20 that you're right on that. Yeah.
Well, let's go back to the eggs, and I'll come back to the corn because I'm not getting off the corn yet. But Jason, what do you think? What do you think was the cause to his eggs, or is that how the eggs turn out when you smoke them?
I think you went too long. And I'm still playing with this too. You said the flavor was good on those that we're looking at now. So I did backyard raised chickens here, from my backyard right to the grill, and I didn't get that smoke flavor in there the first time. So I think if you hard boil it and you put it on the grill, you're not really trying to cook them. You're just trying to get that smoke in there. So I would go at about 175, 180 with a heavy smoke, and I don't think you need to do it that long. You're not cooking. You're just wanting. And a hard boiled egg that's going to absorb the smoke pretty rapidly. So I'm still playing with this recipe too. The ones that I did last time, actually, I liked a lot, but I think you went too hot and too long. Would be my thought.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, like you were saying, 175 next time and probably about an hour and see if that, because honestly, like when you look at the picture of those eggs, they're not even just smoked, they're almost glossy. Like they reflected the flash. They were, something was wrong with them. So yeah, I think, like you said, too hot and too long.
Yeah, the color on them looks good. Looks like it's got a good color or smoke infiltration. So you said you could taste that they had a decent taste, but the texture just wasn't appealing.
Well, yeah, real good taste, and I guess I should say the texture all the way through. It actually made the eggs. When you hard boil an egg, it's kind of, I don't even know what texture that is, but it almost made it seem like a fluffier. Like the smoke made the whole egg fluffier. It wasn't quite like you'd make powdered eggs, but it was a lot
What about
more.
the yolk? It looks like the yolk may have a different texture to it as well.
Yep, definitely. I guess it kind of dried it out a bit, but it wasn't dry. It was just real light and fluffy, almost, I don't know, like powdery snow, if that makes any sense. It was just
So it's
real
not
light.
like something you could have taken the weight in the method that you did it, smoke some eggs and then make like deviled egg dishes out of them.
Um, no, no, probably
Okay.
not.
I'm going to put smoking eggs back on the list as something that's in progress that has potential, but wasn't 100% success this time. But I want to go back to the corn. I think you leave the shuck on. I don't think you need to put butter on it. Leave the shuck on it. That lets it cook. It keeps it plenty moist and hydrated as it cooks through the shuck. I think shucked corn on is the only way to go. Who disagrees with me?
I don't know. I've had the shucked on corn before, and I wanted to try something different. I don't like those burned grill parts on grilled corn. So I was trying to get more of basically just a smoke flavor without the grilled corn effect, and it came out pretty close. Like there was a little bit at the back of the cob where I wasn't quite painting the butter on right, like all the way, and that kind of, it didn't get dry, but you could see it started to crinkle. Everything else just stayed really moist and really hydrated. And man, those, when you smear the butter on the corn at the end, like you had nothing on what I did. Like there was corn all the way, or sorry, butter all the way down to the cob. It was fantastic.
Joe,
Okay.
I'm not going to agree or disagree with you. It depends on my mood and what I'm doing. I've done them both ways, and they come out good either way. When I do mine with the shuck on there, I will coat them in butter and season them, and then put the shuck back on, so they cook inside of that, and then take it off afterwards. So I'm not gonna agree or disagree. Just depends on what I'm doing.
All right. Well, that was you could save your mic time if you're not agreeing with me. I don't know what you even spoke up for, Big Ron. It was horrible. James, go ahead and back me up.
Oh yeah, no, I'll definitely back you up. You leave that shuck on there, cook that thing, and when it's nice and cooked, shuck it, eat it. So yummy.
Vet, what you know about some corn?
I know that is the way to do it right there. Is you leave that on there and you smoke it. And, I don't mind peeling it back, putting whatever flavors and butter you want to put inside of there and smoke that sucker. Yeah, but I've always left mine wrapped. I've never unwrapped it, or shucked it. I'm sorry, but
Man, you
I
got to
you know
try
what?
it this way.
Hold up, let's go to Jason. What do you think, Jason?
Oh, I'll try anything once. I'll try anything once.
I haven't tried it this way. I've just kind of cut the tassels off and thrown them on. I always buttered and seasoned after they were done. But a different comment here. You have the cleanest grill I've ever seen in my life. That thing is spotless.
Well, thank you.
Need some more burn time in there. You ain't got enough smoke in there on it.
Well, this is it's not my grill. It was someone else's. They keep it pretty clean. But
Yeah, I'm gonna give you on the shuck. I like the shuck because it's super easy. I don't even put butter on it. The tassels, I guess I don't cut those off. Let them burn up a little bit. But I like to leave the shuck on there because I don't have to mess with them. I don't, as long as I don't have them on direct heat, I can leave them in there until they're ready to go. You pull them out. Uh, chucking them's a little hot, but you can pull them out then, butter them up, and it's good to go. But I'll give you some props. Layering the butter on there like you did. I just think for me it would be too much work for a side dish for butter.
yeah, well, and another reason I did it that way is because, first of all, I'm a strong believer that butter makes everything better. You can't have enough butter, but also because like I said, I have had it with the shucks on, and I was hoping to get more smoke penetration, getting those shucks off there, and it was smoky. It was good, and I'd imagine if Fett tried it on his smoker, not just a pellet grill, it might actually be almost too much smoke doing it with a full on smoker, but the way it came out on the pellet grill with mesquite, uh, it was real good. It was real
So,
strong.
so you had a good butter flavor and you had a good smoke flavor in the corn the way you did it.
Yeah. Oh man, that butter. Because like, do you have that other picture? Did I send you that other picture with the melted butter?
That one.
Yeah. So I just painted that on there like I said, every 10 minutes. So I'd flip it, paint it, flip it, paint it, and no one added any butter afterwards. They just a little bit of salt. It was good to go. Yeah, it was just buttery all the way down to the cob. It wasn't just on the outside. So if you don't like butter, it might be too much for you. But no, that it was just melting in your mouth.
I just want to say the Thonic one says he knows it sounds un-American, but he hates corn on the cob. He'll make it for the family, and he grills it with husk on. I'm just saying that's how a Texan does it.
Well, he's right. That does sound un-American. So
I do like corn on the cob, and I do like it grilled or even smoked in the husk is the way I do it. But I think I do that because it's so much easier. I got other things I'm worried about. Usually that's a side dish to a meal. And it's so easy to grab those and throw them on there and cook everything else as those are heating up with the husk, and you don't have to really worry about them burning because that husk protects it. So, but no, I'm gonna give you some preps. You basted that like it was a turkey. How long did it take you to smoke that?
about 35 minutes
And you're brushing butter on how often?
every 10. Yeah, every 10. I was smoking it at about 225.
Okay. And that 225 got it cooked, got you smoked, and got you butter basted in about 35 minutes.
Yep. Yeah. No.
Okay. Um, Big Ron, I know you've been busy at work this week, and we don't really have a submission from you. But have you done anything on the grill this week?
The wife actually threw some meatballs at the smoker the other night. We did smoked meatballs and some pasta, but it was a super small batch and just kind of busy around the house, so we didn't get any video or pictures of it. But they came out pretty good.
So actually smoked some meatballs for spaghetti.
Yes, yeah, we did ground beef. I think she did a straight ground beef, an 89 or a My brain just died. 70-20 mix on it. Use Italian seasoning, a little bit of olive oil, some eggs, a little bit of Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. Put them on the grill at 210, 215 for about 4 or 5 hours. Just let them slow smoke, and then put them into the sauce and let them simmer in the sauce for a couple of hours after that. And when you split the meatballs open, they were just nice and red all the way through. Good smoky flavor. Came out real good.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about what all you could do with that if you smoked. Honestly, if you just smoked ground beef, what you could do with it afterwards, maybe in some Italian dishes.
I've done a smoked meatloaf also, and I put I'll have to do one up for you on that one. I do a smoked meatloaf with mozzarella cheese on the inside. Comes out really good.
Should I put that on the list for next week?
If you'd like, you can.
It's already done. Mozzarella meatloaf smoked by Big Ron.
Someone needs to do a coffee cake.
I got to think about the coffee cake. The best way to run it, that I think just putting a baked goods on there may not be the best out, or you may not get the best outcome. Thonic one says butter and Goya adobo. I don't know what that is. Can you
Oh
explain
yeah,
what that
that
is?
would be good, Thonic one. I didn't think about that. A little bit of Goya adobo on there.
What is a Goya adobo?
It's a seasoning that you can get. Usually, you can find it in the international aisles. Living in Texas, you should be able to find it on the regular aisles. Um, it's just like a powdered seasoning. You mix it up with the butter and you put it on your corn. It comes out real good. There's a cheese that my wife and daughter put on there too, and it makes it into more like a Mexican street corn. It comes out really good.
Kind of sounds like a slur to me.
No, I don't.
I grew up on adobo. That stuff is so good. I grew up on that shit. That shit is awesome. You put that on everything, just like Frank's Red Hots. I'm just saying. That stuff is good. Goya is just the name of the company. Adobo is actually the seasoning. And you can tell I know what I'm talking about because I said it adobo. That's how you're supposed to say it. Just saying.
Just remember, Goya is one of the most American companies there is. That man was on stage at the RNC.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt. He knows what his bread is buttered.
Rags from Riches story. I think it's wonderful. We got B swinging in here with Mexican street corn is the bomb. Mexican street corn is the bomb. In fact, I've got a little list here started on some things we may do. We may try to do some Mexican street corn with a smoke flair to it. I could do some thinking on that, but we'll get together behind the scenes and try to pull that off. Okay, so I've a smoked meatloaf maybe next week, but you smoked the meatballs. We talked about you doing the meatballs, and you've done that with some success, you say. So, how did it change the Italian food flavoring on that? Did it give it a southwestern spaghetti feel?
No, it gives the meat that little bit of a smoky flavor. Think of it more like when you cook a pizza over a wood brick oven, and the dough's got that flavor to it with a little bit of smokiness to it. It does the same thing to the meatball. It almost gives it more of a home flavor when you're eating it. It makes it feel more authentic, having a little bit of that wood fire flavor to it. It's really good. The key to it is you can't go too long since it's ground beef and you can play around with the fat content. You go too long, you'll dry them out and they turn hard.
Makes sense. Jason, have you ever tried to smoke anything like that?
Say what? Like what? Missed it.
Meatballs or meatloaf?
I have not done that, but I'm not against it.
No, I'm not against it either. All right, folks, we're probably going to have a little bit of a shorter show tonight just because our content's going to run short. But let's go to my submission, which is this is grilled teriyaki chicken. Now, it's not a smoked dish, but it is a great dish to grill. Super easy to make. It's not very expensive. If you've got guests coming over and you don't want to do hot dogs or the regular hamburgers, the fast thing that you do on the grill to kind of get everybody fed, this dish you can do in great quantities. I'll tell you, as we go through, I'll tell you the things you got to watch for. The more you put on there, heat is an issue. You want to make sure you've got a good hot fire to pull this off to caramelize the teriyaki marinade to the chicken. But let's watch this video and we'll talk about it. Didn't have time to put a soundtrack to it, so you're going to get me. 3 chicken breasts, skinless, boneless chicken breast. In the cheap ones you can buy in the frozen bag. Thaw them out. They got to be thawed, obviously, but those work great for this. Like I say, this is not a very expensive meal. Some sour cream, Lowry's 15-minute teriyaki marinade. I've used some off brands. Didn't turn out as good as this does, but that Lowry's 15-minute teriyaki marinade, and it has, let's say, with pineapple juice. That's another key factor there with this marinade. And a gallon Ziploc freezer bag, and that'll get you started. I think I'm playing. Yeah, we go. You want to butterfly the chicken breast to make them as equal thickness on each side as you can. Pour your marinade into a mixing bowl, obviously, like this professional is doing before your eyes. Some sour cream, 4 or 5 tablespoons. You're really looking for color on this. When it's the color of a shelled peanut and smooth, it's good to go. So if it's a little too dark, add a little more sour cream, but that's about right there, in my opinion. So you pour the whisk marinade into the freezer bag and add the butterflied chicken. Looks like that. And put in the refrigerator for at least 1 hour. I know it's a 15-minute marinade. I like to go for at least an hour, maybe 2. The longer doesn't hurt for this dish. So when we're ready to grill, we're going to start the grill. We can use any heat source on this: wood, charcoal, gas. You just want a hot grill. It doesn't matter. I prefer charcoal and wood mix is what I did on this one. But absolutely, heat is what you're looking for on it. So start with your bag of charcoal. Burn it. Burn it some more. And I added a single split of mesquite wood on top of it. So now we're going to shut the bonnet. We're going to let it heat up to somewhere between 350, 375, 400 degrees. I'm happy with. I think we're about 375 today. Now you place the marinated chicken directly on the grill, directly over the heat, skin side down first. Those are the 3 butterfly breasts. Ooh, we got some sound in there. You close the lid. You're looking for about 5 minutes or so. Could be longer, could be less, but you'll see if you look closely on this. Let me pause. If you look closely around the edges, you see the dark edges close to the bottom of the grill. That's telling me that it's done. It's ready to flip over. So we're going to flip them here. So I'm going to turn them, and I'm going to baste them with the marinade that the chicken has been sitting in. Now, there's a trick to that. You want to do that as soon as you turn them, and then you're going to there they are basted. And then I'm going to shut the bonnet, and I want that temperature to get back up to 350, 375. Because technically that's the same stuff the raw chicken was in. So I go about another 5 minutes or so, and that's an approximate, depending on what your heat is. You need to kind of keep checking it. When you'll see the marinade, it turns away. Now I'm going to move the chicken away from a heat source. Let me pause for a second. Or actually, I'm going to go back just a second. All right. When you come back after you've done your marinade, you've done you're on your second. You've already flipped around, so both sides have been cooked. I'm going to remove it from the heat and put it on the higher rack, or I could move it over to the left where the fire's not at, but I want to get it off the direct heat. But I want it to continue to heat up, mainly because we've got chicken. 2, I've just put raw marinade on this dish. I just want to make sure that we're well above 160 degrees, or we're outside of that range where that could be dangerous in it being chicken. So this is what I do. I'll take it from this point. I'm going to take it and move it to the top rack, and I'm going to give it another 3 or 4 minutes in there watching my temperatures. As long as I'm up over 300 degrees for a couple of minutes, I think we're going to be good. So yeah, move it away from the heat source and cook for another 4 minutes or so. And that's what they look like just before I pull them off. So that's all 3 there together, plated. So I want to plate, and I'm going to cover for a short 5 to 10 minute rest with aluminum foil. And then you cut and enjoy. This is the good part. So you get a good flavored chicken. You get a good caramelization on the outside with the teriyaki and the pineapple juice. And what sorry, I'm trying to put my words together. What the sour cream does, you're not going to taste the sour cream, by the way, folks. You're not going to taste it at all. Somehow or another, it helps maintain moisture inside that chicken while it's exposed to high heat. It prevents the sugars in the teriyaki from scorching, giving it a bad taste. Um, it does something to make that work out. So I'm able to put that chicken on there essentially for about 15 minutes on high heat, pull it off, and it's still very juicy in the end. All the moistures and the juices that you want to keep in the chicken are still maintained inside the chicken um, while you cook. Real popular dish, just like the like I said earlier, it's a great dish when you're having a party. You can sling those things very quickly. Maybe do the prep a day ahead. Put them into your bags. Put them in the refrigerator. Guests show up. It's good to go. Throw a bunch of baked potatoes in the microwave, one per person. Let them make their own, and you throw those on the grill. They're coming off, like I say, about every 15 or 10 to 15 minutes. You're doing a cycle of those things off the grill like you're doing hot dogs, and people will love it. I've never served them to guests and had to worry about putting things back in the refrigerator, sometimes to my dismay. But let's go to Jason. What do you think about that?
You just made me for next week's show. I'm going to do spatchcock chicken. They look good. Yep. No, nice work.
What you gonna do with that spatchcock chicken? You gonna smoke it? What you gonna do with it?
I smoke everything. Yeah, I'll probably smoke it. But no, your teriyaki. I've marinated teriyaki before, chicken before. And I'm not a huge teriyaki fan. I actually started kind of dipping into the Japanese. There's a Japanese sauce, I think it's called. I've done that a little bit with chicken wings, but I like the burnt marks on that. You actually cooked it to the outside look of it was very well done, and no, good job. It looked like it tasted great. But
Yeah, I'm not a fan of teriyaki chicken. This comes off if you get and that's why I say the heat is important. You want to keep the heat high. You want to keep it exposed to high heat until you do your high shelf. But it does some sort of caramelization with it. I think the sour cream has something to do with it. I don't know that, and I can't remember why I started putting sour cream into it. I think I'd used sour cream. This all started on a kebab recipe, but that my ex-wife liked, and I did it with beef. Then I started doing it with chicken, and I used a different marinade. And it was almost an accident that this lorry showed up at the house, and I think it was my wife that did it. And I don't know why I added sour cream to it, but I did, and I've been doing it ever since. And I've done it to a few other recipes. With chicken, if you can put sour cream to whatever marinade you're putting it onto, it will absolutely keep your chicken more juicy inside than it will without. And I don't know why the physics behind that. I've got some ideas, but I'm not sure. But Jason, it doesn't taste like teriyaki chicken. It tastes like grilled chicken, almost like you would want your barbecue chicken to be. But that glaze is not sticky. It's not really a glaze anymore. It's somehow or another just becomes part of the chicken and the chicken taste. It's one of my go-to dishes for guests when I've got more than a few coming over.
I have never done that, and I am looking forward to trying it. I've never even heard of that before.
Well, good. That's what I'd like for us to do is to start. I want somebody else to make your chili. I want somebody else to make my teriyaki chicken. And once we get the egg thing down, I'd like to round robin this around to see what other people think about it and techniques and tips. But Bruce, what do you think about the teriyaki chicken? Your opinions?
I think that looks beautiful. I would definitely like that. I think it'd also be good on some teriyaki noodles. You could probably cut that up and serve that with some teriyaki noodles, and that would be an amazing dish. But
I think you'd be disappointed. It doesn't give you it's not an Asian taste. But you'll have to try it and judge it for yourself. Maybe it is for you, but for me, it doesn't. It loses its Asian taste with the heat and the caramelization of the whatever it is, the chicken and everything on the outside. But I think you'd be disappointed if you added that to any Asian dish.
Well, the way I do my teriyaki noodles is I'll just smoke chicken and then toss that on there with no teriyaki sauce. So I may not be as discerning of a palate when it comes.
And when you
to
say teriyaki noodles, what are we talking about? Are we talking ramen?
No. It's their actual teriyaki noodles. I'll send you the ones that I buy, but they got the teriyaki sauce with them, and it's like soba. So it's not soba, but I'll find them and send them to you.
All right. Well, maybe you should try the teriyaki and try it with your noodles, and let's see it.
I'm down. Yeah, no, that looks great though. I like the idea of doing it that with a potato though. Did you smoke that potato? Was that a
No, that was just regular baked potato. I didn't smoke it. To smoke it would have taken more time than I had to do on that grill. You got to remember that's a grill. To smoke anything on that is would absolutely be a labor. I don't know if it'd be a labor or love, but it would absolutely be a labor. You'd have to stay on top of it or you'd overheat. But I have smoked potatoes before. They're good. I've got a good smashed sm- uh, baby smashed potato recipe that I may pick up here in the next couple of weeks and do. It's not very hard to do, but it's a great tasting grill item. You take it from the oven to the you partially in the oven, the other part you do on the grill with some olive oil. It's a real good dish. But Thana once said it looked real good with a quick meal idea. It is a quick meal idea, by the way. It is something that uh, literally you're 15 minutes, 20 minutes on the grill. You know, a good 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes for it to burn down. 15 minutes to cook. You're literally 5 minutes worth of prep time, not counting your set and marinade time. So a little planning. It's a real quick, easy meal. But Vet, what do you think about it?
It looks delicious, my man. It looks delicious. Ever since I made that spatchcock chicken, I'm hooked. I'm hooked on doing it that way. And that color, that presentation, it looks great. It looks fantastic. Um, yeah, but it tastes just as good as it looks, brother. And I think it's a great idea to round robin all the recipes and things that we're doing because I wouldn't mind trying that chili that Jason made. And, uh, like you said, once we get the eggs locked down, doing that as well. Uh, it's a whole universe out there of foods we can smoke, man. I'm just itching to try it.
No, that's what we're going to do. We're going to start round robin it around, and once we've got a few of these dishes on the table, we'll start picking up and others doing them to see how they come out. B has asked, has anyone smoked a yam or a sweet potato? You know what? I have not. Has anybody done that?
I've done sweet potatoes.
How'd that come out?
Um, Kind of like a potato, but sweet with smoking it.
No shit. I couldn't have figured that out.
Well, I'm just saying that's what it tasted like.
descriptive?
So it was like a yam, but it was smoked. You know? Okay.
Kind of yam flavored with a little smoke.
You know what? I don't think it would be bad. What about like a sweet potato pie or some of the other dishes they make at Thanksgiving with a smoked yam or sweet potato? That might be interesting.
Do y'all have a grasshopper pie down there? Thanksgiving, that's a big Minnesota thing. You ever heard of grasshopper pie?
No, I've never heard of grasshopper pie. We fish with them.
Yeah, I don't eat bugs.
Yeah, it sounds like some WEF stuff.
The WF's got Minnesota locked down in a headlock.
No, that's not even close to what it is. It's not. It's. I'll digress. Never mind.
You can't just leave us there.
Okay, yeah, you can't say
No,
do
don't
you
leave me
grasshopper
hanging.
pie.
Come
Don't tell
on.
us what's in a grasshopper pie.
It's a. It's a green pie with. I can't even explain it. I'll share a picture of it. But when you brought up smoking pies, that was the one pie that I think might be interesting to smoke, and I am not going to try it. But
Green, like key lime, pecan.
let's talk about corn. Yeah, I don't know. I'll send a picture of it.
Yeah, let's know about your cricket.
You know what? A chess pie. That's real popular down the south. A chess pie or buttermilk pie might be a good smoke too. Big Ron, what do you think about that?
I think
Bet
I've never heard of either one of those.
You've never heard of either one of those?
Never heard of either a buttermilk pie or a chest pie?
Chess.
Like chestnut?
Yeah, I heard chest.
Yeah, I heard chest too.
Like the game chess. I don't know why they call it that. It's just a chess pie, but it's very similar to a buttermilk pie. There's even a
Buttermilk
vinegar
pie
pie
is
that's literally made with vinegar and something else, but it's
our
not
big-
a bad pie either.
Our big pies here are key lime and lemon meringue, more specifically key lime.
So either a lemon or a lime that's your choice in Florida.
I love key lime though. That is the best.
I do too. I love a good key lime pie. I'm not gonna
Would you
lie.
smoke a key lime pie?
I would not smoke a key lime pie. That'd probably blasphemy.
All right, I pulled up a recipe for a grasshopper pie, and tell me if you think this would be good smoked. So
You
it's
have to tell us what's in it.
I'm going to.
Okay.
So thin chocolate wafer cookies, buttermilk, large marshmallows, white cream to mint, white cream to cacao, whipping cream, green food color, reserve crumbs, and semi-sweet baking chocolate. And it's basically you cook it at 350 for I don't know how long, but I'll send you the recipe. But everything in there to me, I think would absorb smoke, and it might be kind of interesting.
Did you say it has chocolate mint cookies in it?
Thin chocolate wafer cookies, finely crushed.
It almost sounds like a graham cracker crust or something like that.
I'm looking at a picture of it. It don't look bad.
I'll bet that crust absorbs smoke real well.
Well, you know, you talk
Actually
about a pie.
not.
What about a pecan pie?
The marshmallows, 32 large marshmallows, that'll take smoke.
Yeah, that probably takes smoke. I think the pecan pie would be good, Joe. With oak.
Yeah, pecan
Oak
pie.
wood on a pecan pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't chime in now, Vet. You left me hanging on my buttermilk pie, all my
No,
southern
I was
pies there. You were
talking,
like,
man.
oh, well, I
You
have
were
to take a
talking
break.
over me.
I'm over here
I
getting beat
know.
up by key lime and lemon meringue.
No, you didn't hear me. I said buttermilk is some good ass pie. My wife makes it. I already know what you're talking about, brother. That shit gets eaten up in this house. There's nothing left when she makes a pan of that shit. It's
All right.
good.
Well, we heard you this time. Thank you for stepping up.
Good.
But what do you think smoking that for a short smoke? I don't think heavy smoke on it would be good, but I think a short smoke on maybe a buttermilk pie would be pretty good.
B is saying
Yep.
grasshopper pie tastes like a thin mint, and by the pictures, I can see that.
I don't like mint in my pies.
I do like thin mint though. I don't know. I mean, he was saying that when Jason was talking the recipe, it sounded pretty damn good. I don't know. It sounded good. B's chiming in.
Well, I
B
think
is
we need
exactly
to.
right.
I do like Girl Scout cookies, the thin mints. Those are good. But I don't know if smoking mint would be good. I think
You
it's worth.
guys smoked a cheesesteak, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I'd never heard that either.
Yeah, it didn't have any Girl Scout cookies in it though.
But it came out so good.
You know what? I'm down with it. Let's give it a shot. I think smoked chocolate, if it's done correctly, can. I think smoking add a very very good flavor to chocolate, in my opinion.
So we're putting Jason down for smoked grasshoppers.
Smoked grasshoppers. Definitely
No,
yes.
no. I'm gonna make something I'm gonna eat. I'm going spatchcock.
That'll be good too.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that spatchcock smoked chicken for sure. Um, well, folks, unless anybody's got anything else, that's all the smoking topics I've got. Now we do have our beloved benevolent President Joe Biden has announced out of the blue that he's not going to run for office. He's not going to seek office for a second term, and he's endorsing Kamala Harris as the lead on the presidential ticket for the Democratic Party. Can we smoke that?
I do have to. Yeah, I put that in my pipe and smoked it. But I do wonder if he knows that he dropped out yet. Apparently, his aides and all the propagandists didn't know about it till they saw it on X.
Fucking Bruce.
Funny
Actually, I heard a
'cause it's
report
true.
on that said that no one knew until literally 1 minute before it was shot out. He'd already had it written. It kind of said, "This is what we're going to do. I've decided," and that was it.
I'm
Yeah,
100% sure he decided.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, he got forced out for sure. You saw Jill said, "I'll never forgive them," like referring to the DNC. Like she is big mad right now.
No, I didn't see that. What's all that about?
Oh well, Jill and Hunter, like Jill's living the good life right now, and Hunter, his life's hanging on his dad sticking in there or at least pardoning him. So yeah, they're both mad.
Now, his son will get a pardon on the way out the door, whether that's now or later. But his son will get a pardon.
I have to agree with you. I know Biden said, "Oh, I'll trust the courts. I won't pardon him," but I called BS on that the moment he said that. Because it's not even just so much that he loves his son, like the Democrats like to say. It's more that Hunter and Joe, they're just tied so close together. Like, he can't let Hunter go down.
They do know that Kamala, even in the polls, was running lower than Biden. Like,
2%.
Trump's
She got
leading.
2%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they think she's a strong candidate. I think they think he's the worst candidate. B asks, is it going to be safe to fly this week, or is everyone going to be crazy?
Man, between
I think it's
Boeing,
going to be okay. What do y'all think?
between Boeing and Microsoft, like, you heard all those flights were down because of CrowdStrike.
I think the better thing is that Dominion was down because of CrowdStrike, and then they come out and say that those things never get connected to the internet.
Yeah.
If they don't get connected to the internet, why do you need antivirus software on them?
Right. Yeah. No, it's all not very good.
That's an interesting web you just brought up, which ties back into, I think, BlackRock. But my question is, do you really think the Democrats run with Kamala? I just see an implant come. There's no way they're going to let Kamala be the choice.
They have no choice. They have to have Kamala on the ticket one way or another, or they lose all the money. If they don't, I'm sorry, go ahead, Bruce.
No, I was just agreeing. I said money talks.
Yeah, it does. If they pull Biden and Kamala off the ticket, then the way the campaign finance laws read, they lose all the money in the coffer. Well, they don't lose it, but it can't go to another candidate. So they would have to start fundraising from beginning again.
So can somebody come in and go for the presidential nominee and Kamala stays vice president? Or
It doesn't matter where she's at on the ticket. She just has to be on the ticket.
Okay, interesting.
Come
So
on,
they
you're
can
going to convince her. I mean, that's always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Well, you're good enough to be another person's vice president, but you're never good enough to be president unless one of us dies. She's not going to buy that.
Well, that's the problem when you suck your way to the top, is eventually you get to the top and you're always going to be sucking off the guy at the top. You're never going to get past that.
Always sucking and never sucked.
Okay. I heard the verb. You're okay, bye.
Now, these next couple weeks and months are going to be interesting. We've already had Trump survive an assassination attempt, and then he beat the presidential nominee for the Democrats. So, and that's not even the October surprise yet. So it's going to get
I don't
crazy.
think RFJ is going to slide in there. B, the Democrats hate him.
Yeah, no, they're never going to let him get in there.
Yeah, they screwed him over.
Yeah, no,
and he did a press conference today. Just talking unity and bullshit, kind of like that. But he's trying to take advantage of the political movements. But I think he's going to get rolled back and forth.
And it is an interesting thing, though, because I think if they threw the weight of the DNC behind him, he would be a great candidate, and I think they'd go places with him. But I don't know if it's something he said or the policies he stands behind, but they do not want him in there. Like, they refused him Secret Service protection up until right after Trump's assassination attempt.
Now, he's got some pretty radical ideas if you ever actually look into him. Unfortunately, my oldest son's a real big RFK fan, but when you look at some of his more baseline policies, he's up 2 and 4 late term abortions. He's fairly anti-gun when you actually look into his policies. So
yeah, he's a gun grabber, very, very pro climate change agenda, abortion. Like, he honestly is pretty much the perfect radical leftist, except when it comes to vaccines. And I think that's one of the big problems they have with him, is he's very anti-vaccine everything.
Yeah, they've got a bone against him for whatever reason. They pretty much shut him out of the Democratic Party. Originally he was going to run as a Democrat against Biden, but he just got shut out. B says that right, B Wayne, he was catching snakes, etc. he kind of freaks me out. You talking about the RFK? I think that's what she's talking about, right? RFK catching snakes.
He had that brain worm.
Yeah, he got a snake in his brain.
Makes
Oh
you,
yeah, he had
makes
a brain one.
yeah. That's why he talks like he does.
He still does. It's just not alive
Why
anymore.
does the rest of his family talk the same way? They got brain worms too.
It's
That-
no, that is
Kennedy.
interesting. Like his sister talks that way. A lot of his other family members talk that way.
His dad and his grandfather's grandmother for sure
He
talk that
actually
way.
he actually has gotten better though. I was listening to some of his debates a year or two ago, and it was worse. I don't know what he's doing, but it is actually getting better. But I just have a hard time listening to him, even like policies aside. It is hard to get through a 3 hour interview with him. I think he was on Joe Rogan, and it was a struggle.
Yeah, I think I did hear that Joe Rogan episode. He is. I don't know that I finished it. He is difficult to listen to. Not that he's not saying anything that's worth listening to. It's just getting through the cadence of it's pretty rough.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't know if we want to take this to the space and let other people jump in.
Well, that's what I was going to suggest, that we go ahead and end the smoke show for the Sunday evening. Catch us next week, guys, at the same time at 7 Eastern. We normally go 2 hours, but it depends on our work week. Remember, guys, we're doing this. Everybody's doing this voluntary putting in, and they put their own money into it. They put their own time into it to put these cooks and smokes together. So some weeks we'll have better, some will have less. This week I thought we had some real solid ones. So we've talked about our eggs. We've got your Texas chili. Don't forget about that. For Jason, all this stuff is here for recording. You want to go back and write down the recipes or make a cutting of the recording yourself so you can make it yourself. Feel free to do so. My teriyaki chicken. It's pretty well laid out there. The editing on it's not as good as I wanted to be, but I started running out of time on that one. But we're tightening the shot group. We'll be better next week and have more videos of more cooks and more instructions. We'd like to put these together so if you see something you like, then we've given you enough information to give it a shot. One last word from B. That's why he skipped campaigning, because of his voice. She's telling us. We appreciate you, B. Give us about 10 minutes. We'll kick off a space and we can talk about some more smoke show stuff. We can jump into the elephant in the room, which is the president of the United States pulling an LBJ and declining to accept his party's nomination for the office of president of the United States of America. All right, folks. Thanks. We're out of here.
None of these that I've been reading about, or none that I knew, they never gave me anything.
None of the fichettes?
No.
You
I
think-
don't even speak to the... I met that Charlie once or twice. I don't even talk to him.
You don't like him?
No.
You're also known as Duck Corella.
I refuse to answer on the grounds of made intent to
You got any business?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of intent to criminate.
You have any?